Hey there, welcome to Unit 7, Topic 10, Solving Right Triangles. That means you're finding everything that's missing. Okay, so there's 6 things that could be found. You've got 3 angles and 3 sides in a triangle. So you want to sort of look at what you've been given and then find everything else. Some things are easier than others to find. So like for example, if I've been given 2 angles, then I'm going to use the fact that those 2 angles along with the third angle add up to 180. Okay, so 48 and 90. So what's left over for x? So I'm going to start with x. Okay, so I have 180 degrees total that I can use for a triangle. I've used 48 degrees that I got from here, and I've used 90 degrees got from there. So I want to find out what's left over. Okay, what's left over for that third angle? 180 minus 48 minus 90 gives me 42. Okay, so x is 42 degrees, or x is 42. Okay, so I've got that, right? So now I know all 3 angles of the triangle. Okay, and now I have 2 more variables to solve for, y and z. So let's start with y. And I just picked y. It doesn't, you could have started with z, but I'm going to go ahead and pick y. Now, in these problems, it's better to use what you've been given instead of what you've found. Okay, because you might mess up or you might have had to round or whatever. So you want to try to use what they gave you as much as you can. Okay, so for y, let's think about solving for y. Now, with respect to this triangle, I'm going to go ahead and label for SOHCAHTOA. So I only have one side, so I know Pythagorean theorem's out. I have to have 2 sides to use that. So I have one side. This is the hypotenuse, no matter what, but I need to pick an acute angle to label my triangle. So I found both angles. I know both of the acute angles, but I'm going to use the one that they gave me. So based on 48 degrees, that's the acute angle I'm going to choose. Y is opposite. Again, 37 is hypotenuse, and Z over here is adjacent. So I've labeled my triangle. Now, if I'm looking for a variable, if I'm solving for y, I don't want to introduce another variable. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of z. I'm not going to use that. But if I'm solving for y, I now have my picture labeled. So sine, okay, and why did I pick sine? So the letters that I have are O and H. Okay, so that's so in the SOHCAHTOA. So the S stands for sine. So sine of 48 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. So the variable's on top, so I'm going to be multiplying. So it's 37 times sine of 48 equals y. All right, so I can just put that in all at the same time. 37 times sine of 48. And that gives me 30, oh, nope, 30, I did subtract. 37 times sine of 48. Okay, 27.496. So you see it on your calculator too. So I'm going to say, let's just go ahead and that the problem said round to the nearest tenth. It obviously doesn't, but let's say that it did. So then I'm going to go ahead and say nearest tenth, that's 1 decimal place, so 27.5. That 9 is going to make that 4 turn into a 5. Okay, so I've got y. So I found x and I found y. I have one more variable remaining, and that variable is z. Okay, so let's clear our work here. Okay, maybe you want to draw your triangle again, whatever you need. So I'm looking for z. All right, so once again, I do technically now know 2 sides because I found y and I was given the hypotenuse. But like I said before, you really don't want to use the things that you found unless you absolutely have to. So you want to try to use what you've been given, just in case, just so in case you've messed up or whatever, you've had to round. So we're going to use SOHCAHTOA again. We're going to say that Pythagorean theorem is out because of that. So based on SOHCAHTOA, I'm going to pick the acute angle 48 again. That's the one I was given. I'm going to label my picture. So based on 48, this is O, this is H, and this is A. So I definitely need A because I'm trying to find Z, and I definitely need H because that's what I was given. I'm not going to use O because I don't want to use Y because I did round it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So now I'm doing A and H. Okay, so AH, that's so ka, and that ka, the C, stands for cosine. So cosine of 48 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay, so I'm going to be multiplying again my variables on top. Cosine of 48 times, we could put that in parentheses or put it out front, times 37. So cosine, and you should always be working these along with me because um, if you can't figure out how to get it in the calculator just so, then it doesn't matter if you can do all the work, right? You have to be able to work your calculator as well. So 24.757, we're rounded to the nearest tenth, so 24 point, we have a 7.5, that's going to bump that up to an 8, okay? 24.8, okay? So 7 with a 5 behind it jumps to 8. All right, so I found all three of my variables, which means I have successfully solved this right triangle. Remember, solving means finding everything. Okay, finding all the things that they did not give you. You want to always try to use what you've been given and not use what you found along the way. That way you don't get incorrect answers based on rounding or mistakes. All right, so enjoy your practice on this topic, and thanks a lot.